is. Mistakes. By the way, you're streaming a box of me. You need to like click into the call again so that it's streaming for both, so they can see us. Yeah. It's a little box version of me. I have to wait for it till... Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like that. Sorry, YouTube. They update their stuff, but they always just mess it up worse than it was before. That's what they like to do. Also, notice your mic is muted. Is it in OBS?
Okay, so we're live now, and my mic should be on. I really don't like this new streaming setup from YouTube. I really don't like it. So, yeah, but you guys should be able to hear me now. Thank you for pointing that out in the chat. Who was it?
Grieving
Golem, thank you very much. And also, thank you for the list you provided as well. So... I really don't like this setup. We were late by like 25 minutes and nothing was working. And I don't even have good access to information from the way this new setup. I don't like it at all. I hate it. I hate it. Will I get used to it?
So
possibly, but I hate it right now. But it looks like we can be heard, so we can begin the discussion. Let's just get on with the discussion. So, today... we will be discussing potential deconfirmed Smash characters. Basically, some leakers have come out and said things that they've heard. That basically, they're saying from what they have heard that these characters aren't happening for the 5th and final character for the Fighters Pass. Doesn't mean they can't come in the future. Doesn't even, and that's just, you know, from what they're hearing. They aren't necessarily receiving the truth, but I kind of buy it because of their track records. We'll talk a little bit about how apparently at one point it was planned that Donkey Kong 64 was initially going to be 2.5D. But eventually, you know, they went ahead and made Donkey Kong 64 an actual, like, 3D platformer like Banjo-Kazooie and Mario 64, but that was kind of interesting. We'll talk about kind of like the what-if scenario if that happened. Then we'll talk about a new Pokeball Plus, because I put a typo there. But yes, there's more patents for Pokeball Plus. What could that imply? Well, we'll talk about it. As well as getting into the Metroid rumors that surfaced this week, that I also don't believe. But it's still more opportunity to talk about Metroid, and maybe it's true. A lot of people are talking about it. Maybe just because they have nothing else good to talk about. But we'll see. And then we'll talk about... Jesus, nothing is appropriate right now. Everything's falling apart here. Like, this entire stream is falling apart at the seams. But we'll get into our final predictions over the Game Awards. And it's going to be more, like, specific. Like, we're not going to just talk about, oh, yeah, this game will show up, this game will show up. We'll talk about, like if this game shows up, what will we see from this game? like kind of like that. So we'll go into more detail about that and put our final picks in case any of that has changed over the last few weeks, given the information that has come out. And that's pretty much the plan. And I think now we'll probably establish a normal flow of this podcast, as opposed to me getting incredibly frustrated and just I'm confused because YouTube just decided to screw me over today. But anyway, how you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I'm doing real good, you know.
Good, I'm glad.
In my personal and gaming life.
That's really good.
Maybe not
That's...
so much in my gaming life. Honestly.
Okay.
I haven't played that many games.
Okay, but your personal life, that sounds
life,
good.
Real life things are great. If you guys don't follow me on social media, you may not know. I got a job recently, and I don't know if I said this on social media, but I start on Tuesday, which is pretty exciting. Pretty exciting stuff. And I bought myself a new iPhone 11 because I have money now, even though I don't have money now, but I will. By the time I actually have to pay for it. Luckily, my dad is amazing, and he paid for everything I need to start out. So
that's good.
Dad. But yeah,
thanks,
life's
Brandon's
going great.
dad.
Unfortunately, that means gaming time has been much more limited, but
that is sort of comes to the territory of being an adult. Yeah, I know it's not good. It's not that fun necessarily, but hey, man, you know, you are moving forward, and it's going to create a lot of opportunities for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty exciting, for sure. So, yeah, I mean, you know, guys, yeah, we know that you've been busy getting your whole life together, right? Changing everything, but you do still plan on making some YouTube stuff. Is that right?
Yeah. Especially if something cool happens at the Game Awards, I'll probably make a video on it if I don't get to stream it live, because I don't know what my work schedule will be, so I don't know if I'll be able to watch it live or not. But if I can, then I'll definitely be streaming it. But if not, then I'll make a video on it, especially if Zelda's shown. Hell yeah, you know I'm going to be making a video on that.
For sure. Oh man, I really hope that happens. And we're going to find out next week, right? Is it next week?
Yeah. No, it's not.
Oh well, maybe I shouldn't have made this the final.
Wait, no. Isn't it next week?
No, it's not. It's like the 12th or something.
Maybe
I shouldn't have made this the final.
That is next week. Okay,
we will
so
talk
it's
about
next Thursday.
Yeah.
But we'll be talking again before it happens. But it is next week.
Whatever. Well, there'll be something interesting that'll come out between now and then. We'll talk about. So these are our finalized thoughts. If we change our minds, I mean that's life. Whatever. It is what it is. So let me check in with the chat, and then let's get started with the topics. Everything's falling apart right now. My pop filter keeps falling off. It's really, things are going really well right now.
We're professionals, guys.
It's going so well right now. Oh my god, I can't wait for this to fall over again. Alright, so. Hello there, Brandon the Stallion. Hello there, Mastermind. Computer Robots. Hello there. The Yellow Kazoo, what's up? Computer Robots. So he's saying, okay, guys. So everyone has got the Pokemon fever out of your systems, and after having 2 weeks with a new Pokemon game? No. I'm just getting started. Because I am a competitive player. And I'm really just... this is just the beginning. I'm starting to build my team. There may be some competitive Pokemon videos coming out, like, you know, me showing off different teams and playing online with Wi-Fi battles. There may be some tutorial videos on how to build a competitive team as well. Maybe, like, I am gonna do this myself, like, no matter what, but the question is, will I make videos on it? Look, it kind of depends on how I decide I'm gonna do it, if I have time for it, and if you guys like that, if there's an audience for that. So we'll see. But considering that, like, I used to do really good at regionals and nationals, and I also won a lot of singles tournaments as well, I feel like I have the skill to do so. We'll just see if it actually pans out. But that is something that is coming. So for me, right, the whole Pokemon thing, like, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna play through the main campaign. The main campaign is basically just like the tutorial for the real game. It's kind of like for a lot of Smash players, right, like, once you get Smash, it's not like, oh, okay, we're gonna play through the adventure mode and we're done. No, Smash has a very long lifespan that can go well beyond 5, 6, even 10 years, right? So for Pokemon, it's similar because there's a whole metagame or several metagames that sort of developed from that game. So there's a lot there for me. And just kind of learning the different like tactics and techniques and coming up with new strategies that people haven't come up with current Pokemon, because there's different abilities and moves and items. There's so many different things that could happen that offer up a lot of different options. It's not infinite, because I mean infinite is infinite, right? But it is seemingly infinite. I would say, because you could play. There are thousands upon thousands of people playing competitive Pokemon, and there are still strategies that will come up randomly that no one thought of a couple of years into that metagame. So there's a lot of options, and it's really cool. So stay tuned. If you don't know anything about competitive Pokemon, hopefully I will show you guys what it's about. I think it's going to be pretty hype, but we'll see how it turns out. But let's going over. Yellow Kazoo's asking, how did it screw you over? I'm pretty sure she's asking me, how is YouTube screwing me over? Well, I think I tried to explain it when I first went live, but the microphone was literally off. So basically, I planned on going live at 9 on the dot, but no, YouTube said no, that's not happening. Because when I went to go set it up, like I actually was gonna have it scheduled and be like so everyone could see it like an hour in advance. But when I set everything up, it didn't show up as scheduled for everyone else, because they forced me to use this new format. Like I didn't even have the option to click. I didn't even see YouTube Classic on the page at all. No live stream button. The only thing I had was go to the little create tab at the top where it says post video. It also had an option for going live. That was literally the only thing I saw. I didn't even see create classic. Maybe it was there really well hidden, but I didn't see it.
Yeah. We could just bookmark the page so that we can.
Perhaps. But so it was a new setup that YouTube had for starting the stream, and it made no sense at all. Like I had to go.
It doesn't make
it's completely different. And when I set everything up, the whole thing was private. Like there was never even I didn't even see an option to make it private. I had to go back to a whole other setting to make it public. But when I did that, I could no longer get into the live control room where I can make it go live for everyone else to see. So it just, yeah, frustrating. But
it was a whole thing.
That's it. We're done with that. We'll talk. Let's just move past it. Yeah. Hello there, Darcy Cypherblade. Hello there. Brian Stallion just added me. I'm really thinking Fighter 5 will be Phoenix Wright. The reveal trailer at the Video Game Awards will be an Ace Attorney styled court case, trying to figure out who stole a Smash invitation last. That would be pretty
Could happen.
fun to see.
I personally wouldn't be like over the moon about it, but it'd be cool.
Yeah, no, it would be very fun to see that, and that would, if there were to be a Phoenix Wright Smash trailer, I do think it could kind of work like that. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So for sure. Grief and Golem is saying
somebody's gonna get into Smash. He's like, no, objection. I'm getting into Smash.
I'm getting into Smash.
Phoenix Wright?
Yeah, it is. You got it. Yeah. Grief and Golem is saying Monokuma for Smash. Who is Monokuma? Should I know that? I've heard that before.
I'm gonna look it up. Let's see.
Yeah, who is Monokuma?
Let's see here. Oh, it's the Danganronpa like bear thing.
Oh, the bear! Black. I saw one anime season of that, and I thought it was pretty good. I know it's like an anime based off a video game. It was fun to watch, that's for sure. And so I mean,
I've not seen Danganronpa.
Yeah, you should check it out. You should check out. At least watch the Danganronpa anime. It's pretty dope. It's kind of like a mystery anime, and they're trying to figure out stuff. So it's been years since I've seen it, but it's really good. And the video games are probably based off the same concept, and they might even be more interesting. So, which might not. I mean, it's different from Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney from what I know, but the whole idea of like figuring out mysteries, piecing it all together, I feel like that's probably where they're similar.
Okay.
Interesting. Grief and Gloom is saying that Monokuma is the mascot of Spike Chunsoft, the same people who made the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series. Huh. That sounds pretty cool. So let's just talk about the first topic here. Okay. So deconfirmed Smash characters. there aren't any deconfirmed Smash characters, first off, right? Like,
Right.
and in terms of the word deconfirmed, right? We just are saying that characters that seem really unlikely based off what some leakers are saying, right? It isn't like Nintendo came out and said, hey guys, Leon from Resident Evil is not coming, right? Dante from Devil May Cry is not coming. You know, that hasn't happened. So technically they could still happen. But there are several characters that leakers have come out and said that they've heard who it is, or they've heard who it isn't. And I'll just put some names out there. And actually, Griffin Golem provided a list for me. And from what I've heard, this all sort of matches up. But from Sabi, we've heard that Crash, Ryo Hayabusa, a Tales of character, which would include Lloyd from Tales of Symphonia, Gino, Doomguy, and Dante are not the fifth fighter for the Fighter's Pass. And I buy that, because Sabi, he has a huge network of information leaking all sorts of things, and he's very, very credible, unlike Leaky Pandy, who we will be talking about later today. And that's in reference to the Metroid rumors, which is why I think they're bull, among other things. So apparently from Vergeben, and I personally don't follow Vergeben too much, and I don't take him as seriously as Sabi, because he kind of has more of a spotty record, but he has also gotten a lot of things right. So to the point where it's very, very it's not even just very likely.
His
it's
track
like
record was a lot better with the main game as opposed to the DLC.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the point is, he definitely had like insider information. So sure. I still kind of will hear him out, but I take what he says with a grain of salt. I don't believe it necessarily. But when Sabi says it, I think, okay, what they're saying is likely true. But anyway, from Vergeben, apparently Scorpion is not happening, Gordon Freeman is not happening, Nippon Ichi is not happening, a Namco character is not happening, an Ubisoft character is not happening, a Falcom character is not happening, and a level 5 character is not happening.
Who's Gordon Freeman? All I can think of is Morgan Freeman, and I know that's not right.
Maybe Half-Life?
Half-Life?
I believe it's a Half-Life character,
Gordon.
right? Pretty sure it's a Half-Life character.
If I could type. Gordon Freeman.
Yeah.
Is protagonist of the Half-Life video game series. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I know who that is.
Right. And then apparently companies have deconfirmed Overwatch or Resident Evil or Tetris or Daemon X Machina being involved. And the thing about Resident Evil is that we are getting a Resident Evil Spirit event. So it's not so much that spirits deconfirm characters. There is no hard rule of that. That is a fan rule that some people just choose to believe. And I mean, if we don't see hard evidence that a spirit can necessarily become a character, I guess, at least in that current form of it. But here's the thing: if there are spirits, if there is a spirit event for a certain franchise right before a character reveal, I feel like you're not gonna have a Leon S. Kennedy spirit a week or two before a Leon S. Kennedy character is announced for Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
They would have held off on that if Leon S. Kennedy was going to be added to Smash Brothers. So I do not think that Resident Evil has anything to do with the final character for this current Fighter's Pass.
I have to agree. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And the same would also apply to the Tetris event as well. The Tetris Spirit event. Yeah.
Oh, Tetris blocked. Not going to get in the Smash.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Dreams crushed.
So, you know, with all these different characters like Crash and Ryu and Doom Guy and Gino and Dante being deconfirmed, as I see some people saying in the chat, like Ray J and Cypher Blade, hashtag Sora for Smash.
Yeah, Sora kind of makes sense as the final one.
It is like we've talked about before. Sora is the kind of character, like he's one of the few characters left that would have like a huge impact, right? Because of how big of a character he is, how much demand is for him. He's not really big on Nintendo necessarily. He's just big because of the Kingdom Hearts series, which is a really big series. And of course, there's some overlap. A lot of Nintendo fans have played Kingdom Hearts naturally. But point is that in terms of like dedicated Nintendo systems, there were some of those handheld, the DS games, right? There were some Kingdom Hearts games. But he's not like... He's not like a Leon S. Kennedy, for example. Like a lot of Nintendo fans hold Leon close to their hearts, but not necessarily
Kingdom
Sora.
Hearts Has there ever been a Kingdom Hearts game on a home console for Nintendo?
I don't think
there
so.
has.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
So, but either way, I think it'll be a big deal, and
It feels like a very Joker situation.
It would be
relevance
right.
to Nintendo.
You took the words right out of my mouth. It would be kind of like a Joker situation, which they've done before, so there's already a precedent for it, right? So why not? I don't think it's that lofty of an expectation. I think the biggest drawback of Sora happening is simply like a licensing thing, because of the whole, Square Enix and then Disney, like the different elements that are there's more moving
Can't wait
parts.
to get 3 songs with him.
Right. It's not even that it can't happen. It's just that there's more moving parts there, more to deal with in terms of licensing. Not to, so that's where it's kind of maybe making it a bit more challenging. But at the same time, considering everything that's been done for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with all of the licensing for the different characters from the different companies, they clearly have a good strategy for handling all of that. So I think Sora could definitely happen. And considering all of the pseudo deconfirmed characters, he's like one of the last like really popular ones left.
Okay, but if you want to take in
you do your butt
the
first.
kind of fan rule that a company can't be, because a lot of people think that companies won't be represented twice. So since Square already got Hero, some people may say, oh, well, Sora's not going to get in. So if we take that rule into account, who is the next likeliest candidate, do we think? I kind of believe that a little bit, like it makes sense, but obviously there's no hard rule that is the case.
There is no hard rule for
why Nintendo would want to spread it out.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really any hard rule, save for not Goku.
Not Goku and not Iron Man.
The hard rule is that the character has to have a video game origin. That's the hard rule that Sakurai has set as of late. But that doesn't mean for, say, maybe the next Smash Bros. Game that rule can't change, right?
I doubt he'll change it.
For Smash Wii U and 3DS, Ridley was too big, right? But for Smash 5, no, he was just right. So it's... There are some... I think even the hard rules can be flexible, but I would say...
When that hard rule gets changed, that's when Nintendo is desperate for characters. Yeah. I
think someday it could change, but I don't expect it to anytime soon, at least. So, I put out a video earlier this week talking about the potential of us getting Nintendo characters in a Nintendo game for the DLC for Smash Ultimate. We haven't got any for the Fighters Pass, and at this point people are just expecting third-party characters. But just another point, there is no hard rule that the Fighters Pass has to be only third-party characters. That's simply what the trend has suggested. Even though it's a trend, that doesn't mean the trend has to maintain. It can be broken. Trends break all the time. That's the point. So, I wouldn't completely count out the idea that we will be getting a Nintendo character announced at the Game Awards. Now, do I think it's likely? I don't know. Likely might be is strong. But I think there's a chance that it's going to be a Nintendo character.
But if it is, who? Who do you think would be likely? Because I can't think of any major Nintendo character.
Well, okay, so a few different options. The one that I talked about in my video was Rex and Pyra, right? Because it honestly depends on how you look at it, right? You could look at it as, hey, look, in the final Smash Direct, Sakurai explained because of timing, they couldn't make it into the base roster. So instead, here's this Mii costume of Rex, here are some spirits, here's some music, I hope you fans enjoy that. And that's it. And then they just left it there and they didn't think about it much beyond that. Or they could have said, hey, you could have perceived it as, okay, hey, here's this stuff, we didn't have enough time to put him into the base roster, right? This will tide you over for now. But as time progresses, more opportunities will arise. Maybe now they will revisit adding them in because there was a demand. Sakurai did want them in, and now the timing fits better for them to make it in.
I think
it depends on how you look at it.
They did do that, you know, the second option that they were going to put him in, I think they would wait till the second Fighter's Pass, honestly. I think that makes more sense. It's like, okay, you got Rex and Pyra Mii costume for the first one, and the second one you'll get the full one. Because it kind of doesn't make sense. Like, if they already knew that they were going to put him in, or had plans to put him into the final one, they could have just waited. They could have just not said anything, and then have him as the them as the fifth one.
And then, you know what? I think there's merit to that point, because it's kind of, it's similar to like the whole idea of for example, the whole spirits thing with Leon S. Kennedy Resident Evil characters. Why offer some content during this period for upcoming characters for this Fighters Pass if they are still coming, right? So I kind of understand your point. That makes a lot of sense, and that's what I've expected for a long while as well. But as I'm just saying, as all the characters are continually like deconfirmed, right? The possible characters, the amount of characters that we have left that we think kind of makes sense is getting smaller and smaller. So
yeah,
that's what sort of pushes me back to that. Hey, wait a second. What if they do pull some of these Nintendo characters out now, right? And it doesn't have to be Rex and Pyra, right? There's other characters. For example, what if we get a Fire Emblem Three Houses character, right? What if we get Akira Howard from Astral Chain, right? Those are options, right? Or what if we get, I don't know, say Sylix from Metroid Prime 4. Maybe they have a Metroid Prime 4 teaser trailer at the Game Awards, and they're like, hey guys, here's Sylix. He's badass. And this, like we get, like, what if that happens? That'd be really cool too, right? And that
could be cool.
Those are possibilities. Are they likelihoods? I don't know if they're likely, but they're possible, right? But there's so many things that are possible, so it's hard to say for sure what's actually going to happen.
Yeah. How about, let's both pick, other than Rex and Pyra, because obviously everybody knows we want them. Other than them, what is one Nintendo character you would want to see? Not necessarily you think is likely, but what's one that you would want?
I already just said it, Sylix.
Okay, Sylix. For me...
Or Akira Howard from Astral Chain.
Akira Howard would be probably my pick. Yeah.
Or
maybe...
Edelgard, because she's pretty.
Nobody
and she
from
has
Fire
a
Emblem.
big axe.
Nobody from Fire Emblem. We have too many of them.
Yeah, but she's different. She has a really strong axe. She's an axe wielder, axe. And she gets a tank. It'd be different. I mean, I get it. Like, I agree, and there's a lot of Fire Emblem characters. Akira Howard from Astral Chain is like, that makes the most sense for me.
Okay, I'll pick.
I mean, I stole your pick.
I would really like one of the champions. Yeah, you stole my pick. So I'll pick one of the champions from Breath of the Wild would be amazing. I'm not sure which one I want.
Baru?
Probably
Urbosa. I got confused because her heritage.
Falco.
Falco. Yeah. Yeah, Falco 2.0.
Or all four.
I think it should be Urbosa.
Epic if it was all four somehow.
Yeah.
Obviously that's likely if it was. Damn.
No, maybe they could be in Hyrule Warriors or something as DLC. If they're not already.
Awesome. I don't think they are.
Okay. Urbosa, though, would be my pick for a Breath of the Wild champion to make it in.
Yeah.
Especially because we don't have that many too many new female characters.
True.
So
very true.
I'd like to see that for sure.
But of course, guys, we think it's most likely a third-party character. By the way.
Most likely. So
let's just talk about possibilities.
Right. Exactly. So what if it is? Let's go back to it being third-party, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say it's not Sora, and it is a third-party character. Who would it be? And also assuming all the deconfirmed characters are actually deconfirmed, they don't happen for this fifth fighter.
I honestly don't know who it would be, but if I can say what I want it to be, I'd like it to be Chrono Trigger, or Chrono.
Oh, dude,
or Frog from Chrono Trigger. I would really like Frog.
He'd be another anime sword fighter, though. Chrono.
True.
Right?
But
yeah.
Frog. Oh, put Frog.
Yeah. I mean, I really like that. I think that'd be great.
Or they could put, just anybody from Chrono Trigger would be great. There's other characters they could put in that would be a lot different. If they want to represent Chrono Trigger without putting Chrono himself.
Yeah.
It would be kind of weird, though, if they did that. So.
I mean, my thing is that, like, if Crash isn't in, if Leon isn't in, I just don't, like...
Yeah, Chrono Trigger I don't think is likely just because it's another Square Enix Akira Toriyama character.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
But that's what I would like.
Yeah, I get your point. Man, I don't know. It's probably gonna be someone I don't even know exists.
It might be. It might
Yeah.
just be.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna be. Someone I don't even know or care about. But then I'll see it and be like, oh, that's cool.
It's gonna be somebody from Wave Race.
Wave Race?
Wave Race, guys, from Wave Race.
Wave Racer, yes.
Race.
Yeah. And then there'll be a different costume, it'll be like it's like one will be a Wave Racer, another one will be an Excite truck. And
Andre Seeger's gonna get his wish. Excite truck.
Yeah, Excite truck. There's a few different racing titles from Nintendo. So what if each different alt is a different racer vehicle as a character?
That would be
stupid.
Cool. That would. Yeah, it would be stupid, but at the same time,
Here's a better idea.
There's a lot of other characters where it feels
Give me a real Wave Race for the Switch. That's what I want. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and check back in with the chat here. Brandon Stallion saying, "Well, I would love to have Sora as for the 5th character. The reason I think it'll be Phoenix Wright will be because each character in the Fighter Pass has been from a different company." Okay. And we already got a Square Enix rep, and we haven't yet got a Capcom rep. And Resident Evil and Dante were both deconfirmed. We already got a Street Fighter newcomer, and Monster Hunter already got content in the base game, so the only big character who has a chance now is Phoenix Wright. If you assume if you're assuming that it has to be a Capcom character, Phoenix Wright.
Maybe it's Ubisoft's time to shine. We're getting Rayman.
Although apparently Ubisoft is also deconfirmed, right?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't know that one.
What about Amaterasu from Okami? Right, that's another Capcom character.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Another female too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Griffin Golem Atomy, the one for Overwatch, Blizzard said they would love for any of their characters to be in Smash, and the other are all the Spirit events released during the Fighters Pass. Well, I mean, in terms of the Overwatch thing, like right before Banjo was revealed, right? Who was it? Was it David Wise that came out and said, "Don't get your hopes up for Banjo and Smash" or something? Like, he said that like a week before, like a few days before that announcement actually happened. If it wasn't David Wise, it was someone closely related to Banjo that would supposedly know. So,
right. Except they might totally not know because they don't own the rights at all for Banjo anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't put too much stock into that necessarily.
I really do not think an Overwatch character is.
Right. I just don't think that's likely. Period.
I really don't, especially. Well, I guess this probably doesn't affect it too much, but Blizzard is in an interesting place right now. With it, even their relationship with Nintendo is kind of weird right now. So.
Yeah. Terry Siverson added me. He's saying Kingdom Hearts has one game on Game Boy Advance, 2 on DS, and 1 on 3DS. He also said Sora is owned by Disney 100%. So
see, I don't know if that's true. You know what?
Look it up, Brandon. Do your research.
Who owns Sora from Kingdom Hearts?
The El Kuzu saying there is a hard rule though. They said characters from unrepresented games. I wouldn't call that like a hard rule in my opinion, because there's like room for interpretation, I would say. But I also will agree that like when Reggie came out and said that they're gonna have game character franchises never represented before in Smash Bros. In there, I would say that does suggest whole entirely new franchises to the series will be represented. That's for sure. But I also think that sometimes, when a PR person says something, you can't hold them to their word 100% because we've seen them contradict themselves time and time again. But definitely I would say that what's been said suggests that it'll be something new to the series. And Sora from Kingdom Hearts would be new to Smash Bros. For sure. Terry Severson's also saying, I believe all DLC fighters will be third party. For this Fighters Pass, I would say that's likely. I feel like the next one, I don't know, it just seems weird to me, but we'll see. Terry Silver's Anatomy. Again, nobody's been able to deconfirm Sora, and as far as I'm aware of, nothing in Disney's history has ever been leaked, and the character really kept secret could mean Sora. So, like, perhaps, I'll say that, I forget his name, but there was someone who, like, this is a public thing, it wasn't, like, an insider thing or anything like that, but, someone came up publicly and said that it was Sora, but this is, like, a really, really long time ago, and then they pretended like it was a joke, but it was, like, a long time ago before the Fighters Pass was announced. Maybe they had an inside information from when the DLC characters were being picked, or maybe they just were being a jokester. But at the same time, if Sora happens, like, it makes sense because there's a lot of demand for that.
Can't find anything on who owns him, but I can't find anything official on who owns them. But people seem to generally think that Disney owns them because Disney was heavily involved in their design. Well, Disney didn't actually design it. They just had to go ask Disney if the design was okay. Disney was involved in the design process.
Okay.
So people think Disney
for Sora.
owns it, but I can't. Yeah, Sora. I can't find any like official statements or anything like that.
Okay. Well, if anyone has like a link that, is very,
Clear cut,
reliable,
factual.
Yeah, reliable piece of information on where Sora's rights lie, that would be very useful.
Mm-hmm.
But
for now, I guess we'll just go with the assumption
that's probably.
Disney.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. And if that's the case, yeah, you could look at Sora as more of a Disney rep as opposed to Square Enix rep, right? But at the same time, I don't think there's a hard rule that a company can't have two characters in a single pack. Like there is no hard rule on that. It just seems it seems it would make sense to sort of spread out the spotlight. So we'll see. Grief and Golem Atomy, all the characters from Sabby and the specific characters from Verge were deconfirming fake leaks. The companies and Scorpion by Vergeman were done out of nowhere by him. Okay. Well, so I would say that I want a character. Yep, I want a character that'll be fun. I really mean that. I really do. Any character. Except for...
Now that all my favorites are deconfirmed, I'm just like, well, okay. Whoever it comes, I'll be, I guess... just impress me with the trailer, I guess.
As long as it's not Greedent from Pokemon Sword and Shield, I'm okay. I hate that squirrel.
If it's a
I hate that squirrel.
I would genuinely be upset. Yeah, I don't like the squirrel Pokemon either.
It is disturbing. It should be in a horror movie. It is so evil. I don't like it. Every other Pokemon Sword and Shield is great, except for Greedent. I think it's evil and despicable and ugly and hideous and horrifying and stupid.
Is it the evolved version?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I've only seen the base.
Well, it only gets worse.
It only gets worse from there.
It only gets worse. Ooh. I mean, I'm not trying to say the design is bad. I'm just saying it terrifies me. I just don't like its stupid, funny, grinny face. It just looks unnatural. Yeah. But anyway, we will see what happens. The Game Awards is soon. Not this week soon, but really soon. So that's likely when the reveal will be happening. I just want to say, I told you guys there wouldn't be a direct in November. Not that that was like a crazy prediction, but a lot of people felt really confident about that. And I'm just saying, it didn't make sense. And we're in December now. There has been no November Nintendo Direct. So the Game Awards was right around the corner. That is when the character's getting revealed.
Time to put a direct on December 11th.
Right before the Game Awards. Right. Yep. Yeah, steal all their thunder. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. And then even steal thunder if Nintendo's own announcements. Yeah. No, that's not happening.
Nintendo's like, we're not showing up to announce anything at this Game Awards. Literally nobody watches.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's not happening.
I'm pretty sure if Nintendo did say that they weren't going to have any announcements, like, at least half of the people who watch online would not watch.
Yeah.
It feels that way.
Yeah.
I feel like Nintendo always has the best announcements.
The only reason I'm watching the Game Awards is for the announcements. We talked about last week how trash the Game Awards actually is in terms of actual awards being given, because apparently they think one of the worst games to come out in history is worthy of a nomination. Talking about Jump Force.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you're talking about Death Stranding. I'm like, it's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad. But it's definitely not worthy of an actual Game of the Year nomination, in my opinion.
Nah, not in my opinion.
I mean,
some people do think genuinely do think
and that's really fine. Good. It can be your personal game, but it's really like, for example, I love Pokemon Sword and Shield, but I'm not going to come out here and say, oh my god, this is my personal best game of the year, therefore it should be a Game of the Year nomination. No. I don't think it deserves to be nominated for Game of the Year. It's not there. It just isn't, right? It's still my personal favorite Game of the Year, but I recognize that there are games that, in terms of like objective quality and what they're bringing to the industry overall, and sort of offering like progression and innovation, it isn't there, right? So I got the bias for the Pokemon, but it does not deserve to be there, and I don't think Death Stranding deserves to be there either. I think that is a joke of a nomination. But hey, that doesn't mean the game isn't good. Okay, just to be clear, I'm sure the game is great. It shouldn't be there. But whatever, the Game Awards is not the be-all end-all in terms of what is good and what is bad.
No,
obviously. Yeah. So, let's talk a little bit about Donkey Kong. So, apparently, as they were working towards Donkey Kong 64, initially the plan was to make it more of a 2.5D Donkey Kong game, which, to some extent, is kind of what Donkey Kong Country already was, right? But if also you consider what Donkey Kong Country became when Retro Studios handled it, that would have been interesting to see, but what they decided to make it was Donkey Kong 64, sort of following the same path as Mario 64 and Banjo and Kazooie. So, Brandon, do you feel like they made the right decision, or do you not?
Well, I guess in terms of my own opinions on quality of the game, I think they made the right decision because I really like Donkey Kong 64. But in terms of what I think would have probably been more popular, and obviously where the series has gone, maybe they didn't, just because I feel like they kind of were like, nope, that didn't work, and then just scrapped it. Even though I thought it was actually really good, and they should have kept going in that direction. Or, not obviously for every game, maybe.
I think it should have been
3D should continue. Like, that was a really good concept, they just dropped it.
Yeah, I think they just didn't handle the collecting aspect correctly, which is what has led to a lot of frustration for a lot of people.
Gave the collectathon a bad name.
Yeah. But we've mentioned it before. I think there is so much potential for a 3D Donkey Kong. We've already gotten a few amazing 2.5D Donkey Kong Country games, I think they're great. I'd be happy if they announced, honestly, now that we know Metroid's on the way and Retro Studios is handling it, if Retro came out and said, hey, we have another Donkey Kong Country game, I will be so excited for that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But what I really am yearning for here is another 3D Donkey Kong game, but handled correctly. What would that entail exactly? I feel like, you got to think about it. Like, how could a 3D Donkey Kong be different, right? You look at Mario, Mario is really the only 3D platform Nintendo has.
It's the only one.
But what could they do with Donkey Kong that would make it different? Well, let's look at, Well, if you compare, Donkey Kong Country to, say, for example, Mario Bros., they're both side-scrollers, right? But Mario has more jumping abilities, while Donkey Kong Country is more... It's more... they're definitely both about kind of timing and spacing yourself, but Donkey Kong's more... It's tougher. It's definitely...
It's a lot more about that precision platforming than it is about, Mario has a lot more speed, I feel. Donkey Kong's a lot slower. It's a lot slower, more methodical kind of game,
That makes sense. I agree with that. I also think that Donkey Kong is kind of more blatantly difficult right? Not that I think a Mario Bros. Game is easy, but it is geared a little bit more towards like the core gamer, right? And I think one element they could sort of take a 3D Donkey Kong though, right, is making it more aerial. For example, in Donkey Kong 64, they did have like some vine jumping, right? Imagine if they were to kind of take an inspiration from Tarzan, right? Have you guys ever watched the Disney Tarzan movie where Tarzan is like using the branches, like these thick canopies, to like ride and slide around and swing around? Like imagine if they were to fuse like sliding through branches and like swinging around, kind of like Spider-Man, but with like jungle, vines and stuff through a thick canopy, and offer platforming in that way. But also having kind of, maybe not, I'm not saying to make them super fast, because it would maybe depend on the character that you use, because Donkey Kong's not a fast character. But I think there's so much potential there. I would absolutely love to see a platformer like that, because I think it could be really unique.
Yeah. They can definitely go with the height element. Have stuff like built up in the trees at different elevations, so you gotta climb the trees and get up and get around to all the different buildings. And obviously the environments themselves would be very, very different from what you see in Mario. And really, the only competition for 3D platforms is like Mario. What other 3D platformers really are there these days?
I think the problem is that there aren't many people or many developers that could completely execute a proper 3D Donkey Kong game. I think Retro Studios has shown that when they do come out with a game, they will have the quality. And if Retro Studios had decided to work on a 3D Donkey Kong game, I would have been for it. I wonder if maybe that is what they worked on over these last 5 years, which we still don't know about, by the way. There's nothing.
It's insane.
I just have a hard time believing that they have nothing to show for it. I really, really doubt that Nintendo would put Metroid Prime 4 in the hands of Retro Studios if they were incapable of making anything over the course of 5 years. That just seems really unlikely to me. Like, it's kind of like, think about this. Let's say that Retro Studios really was unable to make anything or had the last half decade. Like, they had several projects and they were all canceled. Do you really think after Nintendo had this development team working on Metroid Prime 4 completely screw it up, and they hemorrhaged millions of dollars likely, and then decided to have to restart, that they would then put it to a developer who has not been able to put out anything for years and has had repeated canceled projects for over half a decade? Do you think they would do that? Like, that just doesn't. I just don't.
Right.
If that's what happened, I'm at a loss for words. I don't think that makes sense. The only thing
that I could see is if Retro Studios was trying very different concepts, like a 3D Donkey Kong or maybe a new IP, and that wasn't working out. So Nintendo was like, go back to what you used to with Metroid Prime, because you've shown that you can make those games. Maybe they were trying something that's just so different from what they were already doing that it wasn't really so much about them being incompetent totally, just they weren't working on this.
Right, and I think that makes sense. It's not a black and white perspective. I like how that perspective you have, Brandon. Perhaps I still feel like it's weird that they would say, hey, just try this out instead, when they weren't able to do anything. But it could really be more, not so much of we failed, but rather they were just experimenting, trying to come up with something new. And with experimentation, there comes the possibility of nothing necessarily coming to fruition in terms of a full game. So maybe that's not necessarily failure, right? Or incompetence. So a lot
of things you can take from those projects. For example, they could have made a bunch of new engines or engine improvements and things like that for the more modern era,
which we have not seen any signs of.
Right, because we haven't seen anything they're working on.
Right, like for example, if Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey, in their credits, they would have credited someone from Retro Studios because maybe they had a hand in something. Okay, sure, but that is not. We don't know about that either, right? There's nothing there. They would have been at least credited. It's not like a secret. For example, like Monolith Soft had a hand in Breath of the Wild, right? They were credited for that.
They were working on their own engine for their own games, though, not necessarily for other games.
And again, we've seen no signs of that. We have talked about.
We haven't seen any of their new games, though. That's the thing. That's the only way we could see that.
The only
Just
thing we
saw
have
those.
is that piece of art that Reggie had that seemed very obviously like a
Magical piece
tease
of art.
that, I believe was a depiction of Monita behind a Mario statue. Why was it a depiction of Monita behind the Mario statue? Sure, that's up for interpretation. But that was a depiction of Monita. If you're really confident in saying at least that. I don't know why, but that was there, and I do think it was teased by Reggie for some reason. So, weird stuff. So do you think we could see a new Donkey Kong game anytime soon?
I personally don't think we will. Unless Retro Studios has been working on it, and that's just one of their projects. Maybe they were done with it, or almost done with it back when they were gonna get Metroid Prime 4, so now it's ready, or near ready. I don't know. It just doesn't, I don't feel like it's gonna, like we're gonna get a new Donkey Kong game anytime soon, but again, if they did, I'd be really happy. So I like it. Either 3D or 2D. I'd be more excited for 3D, but 2D as well, because Tropical Freeze is my favorite 2D platformer ever, so.
So good. So good. For sure. So, let me see where we're at. We're in the chat here. Let me see. Aside from Blade Academy, there was a fake spirit board leak about Kingdom Hearts for December 13th now. If it's real by any chance, I'm thinking it can be a spirit event if Sora was revealed on December 12th at the Game Awards. I mean, I haven't seen that fake spirit board leak thing, but hey, it makes sense.
Spirit board events don't seem to necessarily be tied to character reveals. Like, most of them aren't. So if anything, maybe that means he's not gonna get it.
I don't think it's necessarily real, so I wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if it is real, then I don't think that confirms or deconfirms him in literally any ways whatsoever.
Right. Yeah. So, let me see here. Terry Silverton Academy, HMK has done videos about who owns Sora and his chances in Smash Ultimate. So maybe, yeah, we could check out HMK videos later with him talking. I do know he's been talking about that. I don't watch it because I'm not a Square Enix fan. But, not a Kingdom Hearts fan, I should say. I'm not. Right. I have nothing against any of it. That's just not what I'm into. But maybe, yeah, he offered some sources on that and showed where it was proven that who actually owns the rights there. Because TN is actually adamant. He's saying that the CEO of Disney Japan said Disney and Square co-own Sora and need each other's approval to use him for anything. See, that also goes against what was said earlier about Disney owning Sora 100%. So again,
that would make more sense.
Again, I would like to see like an actual credible article that shows me who has proof, because I haven't done the research on that. I just haven't. And we've talked about this before. Honestly, you know what? So, Brandon, remind me. I'll look it up and I'll have an answer for you guys, because, there shouldn't be this much debate about it. We should know.
Yeah.
Brandon Stallion added me. He's saying he's back from dinner. He says, I swear, if Phoenix Wright is announced for Smash at the Video Game Awards, I will scream like a fangirl, even though I'm a guy. I'll literally scream like a fangirl if Phoenix Wright makes it in. Like, that is... Dude, I mean, it would be really cool, for sure. So, we'll see. We're going to find out soon, for sure. So, let's talk about why there are apparently 5 more patents for a Pokeball Plus. So, apparently Nintendo Japan has registered patents for new Pokeball Plus. I mean, some of the things that are being said here. The new Pokeball Plus aims to provide players with the following: properly organize the components of a spherical controller to allow various operations using a game control to improve the degree of freedom of a structure for the light emission of a controller, and provide spherical control in which the components are properly arranged.
Okay.
I mean, like, okay, so
you can configure it however you want it to be.
I don't know if that might just be from the hardware.
Light? I was so confused.
I mean, I could reread it. Actually, I'll just put this so we can take a look at the patent, right?
Cool.
Like, all this mumbo jumbo stuff. Honestly, it looks the same. It might just be like a slightly improved version. Maybe they plan on re-releasing Pokeball Plus with perhaps a new Pokemon game that will come out next year. Maybe they're working on another Let's Go game. Or just another game that's going to use the Pokeball Plus. I mean, I have no problems with, oh, I already took it down, but it's okay, you'll see it.
I know, it's just there's so much delay on my stream.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think it makes sense that there would be another Pokeball Plus enhancement if they are planning another Pokemon game to use it next year. I don't think it necessarily has to be a Let's Go game, just something that uses that mechanic. Technically, Sword and Shield was compatible with the Pokeball Plus. It just couldn't do everything. You couldn't like throw a Pokeball with it. You couldn't use the motion controls with it. But they could have that available in the next game, whether it's a Let's Go series style of game or not. Hard to say, but it does look like, you know, with that, I would say that the odds of another Pokemon game coming out next year are high.
Yeah, I don't see why you would announce a new controller for a year-old game. Doesn't make sense.
No. Yeah, and yeah, Brandon's down added me. He's saying new Pokeball Plus for Diamond and Pearl remakes, perhaps. Yeah, it doesn't have to be Let's Go. It could be Diamond and Pearl remakes. It could be a Sword and Shield sequel. It could be Let's Go, Hoenn, or Johto or something. All of those are options. So we'll see. Do I think that it does make a Let's Go sequel more likely? Yes. So
yeah, it seems like it would be for simpler Pokemon because it doesn't have, you know, like camera control and stuff.
Maybe.
It only has got one stick.
But you can technically set up Sword and Shield to be played with one controller, with one Joy-Con. So, like, they have a one-hand mode in the game. Okay. Yeah, because the thing is with Pokemon, there's a lot of like breeding and stuff like that where you might just want to kind of chill and do it with one hand. They've had that for years with the handhelds. Like, it's like you can move around and you just use the shoulder buttons to select what you want to do. They pretty much do that with Sword and Shield as well. Okay. So my point is that they can simplify the controls to make it work. They could probably, if maybe like with this new Pokeball patent, there will be another button or two so you could actually do everything you need to do, right? With the Pokeball Plus, it can fully control a more modern Pokemon game. I will say though, I really think that it would be really bad if the next mainline Pokemon game does not have more full camera control. Like, I am seeing people who were not used to those controls, and yes, those people exist, right, that are saying, oh, I really wish I could use this camera in the other areas. So people are understanding the camera controls who are not used to it for a Pokemon game, and I think the way the wild area may function for the Pokemon series moving forward, that it could have been like, hey, this is an idea we're sort of playing around with. In the next game, we're going to take it to another level. Which is pretty much what Game Freak has done with all their games. Like, they try out something, and they sort of, you know, it's kind of like a testing ground. Like, Let's Go with the roaming Pokemon, for example. Wild and Sword and Shield, they completely fleshed that out. So maybe this time around, they will flesh out, you know, a more open environment with a controllable camera. Like, that is something I hope is across the whole game. If it isn't, I will be very critical of the next game. So I hope that happens, but the issue is that if there's another Pokeball Plus coming out, that only has one analog stick, right? So that would imply that whatever game that comes out for doesn't have dual analog control. So I don't know, but at the same time, maybe they'll have it set up where you can have either option, perhaps. So maybe that, or it's Let's Go coming, and Let's Go is going to be more traditional controls because it's just basically a remake of an older game. And then when the next actual new Pokemon game comes out, whether it's Pokemon Sword and Shield 2 or whatever, that will have more camera control. Fingers crossed.
Right. I think next year will likely be a remake, honestly. I don't know if it'll be in a Let's Go style, but I'm thinking,
we heard there was merchandise for Diamond Pearl stuff. If that continues, I would say that seems really likely.
Yeah, that's what everybody's been yelling at Pokemon Company to do, Game Freak, so it would make sense. Everybody's been really wanting it to happen.
Yeah. So I'm actually seeing Ultra Instinct, Super Saiyan 5, Leo Force, saying that I can't believe Resident Evil is deconfirmed, but not Bayonetta and Snake. So it is kind of interesting, I guess, because I do feel like Resident Evil deserves to have a presence in Smash Bros. And I would say Resident Evil deserves a presence in Smash Bros. More than the Metal Gear series. But Bayonetta is effectively a Nintendo character now, right? Like, Nintendo publishes the Bayonetta games now. They pay for them. So I don't agree with that one because they are a Nintendo character, basically. So I don't agree on that. But with the Metal Gear, you know, there's that.
Several characters that I think the Resident Evil characters deserve. I mean, even Joker, like Leon, would have been a better pick than Joker in my opinion. Like, he just a more deserving, quote unquote, character than Joker.
Yeah.
But you know, didn't happen.
Yeah. Darcy here is saying, I really hope Game Freak puts an end to the yearly game releases, to be honest. As a big-time Pokemon fan, I agree. I think it's better if they take more breaks. But it seems like Game Freak might have simply put themselves in a sort of structure where they can pull off having a game come out every year. The issue with that is that there are going to be some games that come out that just don't seem worth it. Like Ultra Sun and Moon did not seem worth it for me, and I do not regret not buying it. Granted, you know, I took a break from competitive play, so that's why it made sense. But if I was still being a competitive player, like going to tournaments and stuff, I would obviously have needed Ultra Sun and Moon. So there's that to consider. Like, competitive players just kind of need to play every single Pokemon game that comes out.
Right.
Let's Go.
But that's not really a reference on the game's quality itself.
No.
It's just kind of what you have to do.
Right, exactly. And then for Let's Go, I did get it, but there wasn't really a competitive... They didn't really create a competitive infrastructure for that game at all. Like, there weren't tournaments using Let's Go. There wasn't really too many online features for Let's Go or multiplayer. Like, it was pretty bare bones, like more than bare bones, like less than bare bones. But intentionally, which I just didn't like that at all. I thought that was lame. And I honestly, like, while I liked Let's Go, I didn't love Let's Go. I just didn't think it offered enough new, or it just didn't feel refreshing enough for me to really enjoy it that much. Maybe for someone who hasn't played Yellow or Red or Blue in like 15 years, it would have been great. But for someone who's played the games at least a handful of times over the years, it just didn't feel like anything new or refreshing to me. Like, I enjoyed the game. Like, I enjoyed like the roaming Pokemon and catching and stuff, but I didn't enjoy it enough to feel like I had to play it through to completion immediately. Like, it took me months to actually finish the game. So, you know, I just hope...
Exactly how I feel about this Pokemon Sword.
Oh gosh. I hope Let's Go, if there is no Let's Go game, that they do more to make it interesting. Because especially if they go to Generation 2, because Generation 2 is my favorite generation by far. I really hope they don't screw that up. Those games were so special to me. So I really hope that if they do that, they do it right. Yeah. Hello there, Brendan Cox. He's saying anything Breath of the Wild 2, I'm assuming for the Game Awards. Yeah, both Brandon and I think that there's a good chance we'll be seeing that at the Game Awards. We're going to talk about that soon.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, let's, is there anything else you want to say in reference to a Pokeball Plus patent? I think it does mean that another Pokemon game is likely in the works for next year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a remake. I don't know if it'll be a Let's Go style or not.
I agree, a remake is definitely likely.
It doesn't. But I can see why they would want to, just because Let's Go sold really well.
I really just hope that they have DLC for Sword and Shield, and if they're gonna, like, if you want to do Let's Go, fine. Just have like a DLC expansion for Sword and Shield at the same time, please. Because I don't,
honestly,
I want,
if it's Diamond and Pearl, I don't think it would be a Let's Go style.
No, it better not. It better not.
Let's Go, I think it will definitely be Johto. So.
Yeah, I also think that there's no way a Diamond and Pearl remake is gonna satisfy me, because after Sword and Shield, I'm going to want a more open game. I'm going to want more wild areas to explore. They could do that for Diamond and Pearl, but they're probably not. It's probably going to be more conservative, careful, sticking to the original vision of the game, just putting it with 3D. Like, Let's Go, right? But not as chibi. That's pretty much what I expect for a Diamond and Pearl remake. I hope that they do go the extra mile. I don't think they will, and I don't think they have the time to if they're planning on it coming out next year.
Yeah.
That's really my main issue with them coming out with the game every year is that they can't have the time to make their games as big with this stricter schedule. So like they have multiple teams, and there is kind of like a looping, right? So it's not like one team has to finish a game in less than a year, right? But it's just like, I mean, Ultra Sun and Moon was just...
When do they have to come up with Gen 9 would be the next one?
They've been on pretty much a 3-year life cycle for each generation.
Okay, so they have till 2020.
X and Y came out in 2013. Yeah, Sun and Moon came out in 2016. Sword and Shield came out in 2019. 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So, we'll see what happens. I do like Sword and Shield a lot, so don't get me wrong. But I do think moving forward they need to slow things down. But we'll see what actually happens.
They will have 3 years to build off the concept of Sword and Shield, though, which will be nice. Because a lot of the groundwork will have been laid down.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that, they can just port all the same Pokemon over, and then...
Well, here's the thing. Based off what they said, it's not... What people are misunderstanding, right, when you actually read and pay attention to what they've actually been saying, the issue isn't so much that they have to recreate all the Pokemon. While that is an element, that is just one small detail to the entire thing. It's more of an issue of balancing an entire game with that many Pokemon and having an ecosystem with the battle system and such and everything you interact with and the culture of that lore of that world to all make sense and work well, right? So I mean, think about this, like you're just constantly adding Pokemon every single generation. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, do you honestly think that they could have a game with 2,000 different creatures that all have...
Right, obviously
no. So like eventually they will get to that point. I mean, it's already nearing 1,000 now. So I want there to be more Pokemon, right? I feel like there could be a way where they could still have that added or in the game to some extent. Like maybe it's just not part of like the main overworld, but which is kind of what they did in the past. So I'm not sure how they're going to handle it. But the way they've expressed, at least through the interviews, is that they don't plan on having a national dex moving forward, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if the blowback will lead to a change. Hard to say.
It doesn't lead to a change because if they focus on the national dex, then that means they're not focusing on the rest of the game, which is not what people actually want. It's just what people think they want.
Yeah, I mean, hard to say. It's hard to say what's gonna happen. So we'll just have to wait and see. For sure. But I do at least think that they're going to build upon what they accomplished with Sword and Shield. They are, in terms of gameplay, they are progressing. Maybe not fast enough for most people, but they are progressing. So we'll see what happens. But let's talk about some Metroid rumors, unless there's anyone added me in the chat. Okay, looks like we can move on. What's going on here? Okay. So, Leaky Pandy said that with the next 2 fiscal years, not this fiscal year, so starting the next fiscal year, a Metroid Prime Trilogy is planned to come out, and then the fiscal year after that, a remake of Super Metroid is planned to come out. In other words, in these time slots of April 2020 to March 2021, somewhere then, according to Leaky Pandy, Metroid Prime Trilogy HD is expected to come out, and then in the next fiscal year, April 2021 to March 2022, somewhere within that window, a remake of Super Metroid is planned to come out. Mm-hmm. So here's my thing. Leaky Pandy does not have a good track record. No. Leaky Pandy told us that there would be Super Mario Odyssey DLC. They told us that there would be a Luigi's Mansion Kingdom in Super Mario Odyssey, which was wrong. They also told us that Skull Kid would be a boss in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is also wrong. There are other things, but those are just a few things that come to mind. Point is, they said things with confidence as if they knew for a fact, and they didn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nor did they. So like they're not reliable. That's the point, right? You can go back and look this stuff up. If you check out my videos, I've actually put sources for them being wrong, right? So they're not a reliable source for this. Firstly, and then secondly, Super Metroid, a remake for Super Metroid. How would you know about a remake for Super Metroid to come out sometime in either 2021 or early 2022? We're in 2019 now. It would be a remake for a 2D game, which is not even a very long game. So the development cycle for that game isn't even necessarily going to be that large. Like, I can't imagine it being bigger than 2 years, right? So think about that for a second, right? Like, that would mean that they would know about the game's development from the very beginning and when they plan on having come out, when development is so fluid that they don't often know exactly when a game is supposed to come out. So that just seems really weird for me. They would know about a game's planned release so far in advance. Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, that's kind of like a pretty safe prediction that it's going to come out sometime in the next fiscal year. Although, I think there's a chance it could come out early next year. Possibly. Do I expect it? No. At this point, no. But, you know.
Yeah, I don't think it will.
I just think the rumor is bogus. That's just pretty much it. Most of us have a pretty good idea that a 2D Metroid has been in the works, and that Metroid Prime Trilogy HD will eventually drop within the next couple of years. Like, that is not like a big revelation here.
Right.
Most of us have been expecting that.
I've been saying for a while that I think that Metroid Prime Trilogy will come out next year, and then some kind of 2D Metroid will come out the year after, and then Metroid Prime 4 the year after that.
Yeah.
And it kind of fits with that, but I feel like it's a pretty easy thing to predict. My thing is just, why Super Metroid? Everybody kind of feels like that's like the most perfect of all the Metroid games. It's weird that they would recreate that one instead of Fusion, which is what everybody thinks that they would remake. Or just make a new 2D Metroid game, you know, that's mind-blowing. Just make a new one, you know. I
would like to see Metroid 5. That'd be great.
When I saw Super Metroid Remake, I was like, really? Super Metroid? Why? And that's the one we already have on the Switch as well. That's the one we can already play on the Switch, whereas the other ones you...
No, I don't believe it.
It seems like the least likely one to get remade. On top of what you said, that just, for me, that feels a little bit weird. Obviously, not possible that they could remake it. It just feels like, why would they remake that one?
Yeah. No, I don't buy it. I think it's dumb.
I don't believe it.
Not at all. But
it's just depressing because I wish I could believe it, but
well, no,
I still think there's two.
But that's just the thing. I don't think it's depressing because I actually think the reality is much better than the rumor, right? I think that a 2D Metroid is probably closer than what Leaky Pandy is trying to say. So there's that. And Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, yeah, I mean, that's probably coming. I don't know when exactly. It kind of depends on probably the timeline for Metroid Prime 4. But I think the reality for Metroid fans, whatever actually ends up happening, is going to be better than what that rumor is suggesting. So I don't think this is bad news or depressing at all. I think it's just wrong. It's just that simple. It's wrong. That way,
it just is kind of nice having like confirmation. You know, but I do think
we'll
probably get something a little bit earlier than that.
And maybe they'll announce Metroid Prime Trilogy at the Game Awards. Probably not.
Probably.
But you know,
it would be hype as hell, especially if they were like, "Oh, you guys thought this could be announced last."
What if I'm right and that it's a Nintendo character for the final character and it's Silex, and they also tease it with Metroid Prime Trilogy HD?
I'd be happy. I'd be down for that.
That'd be so cool.
Like, let's go.
Let's do it. It'd be sick. Like,
and then
imagine...
I could actually play the game Silex Sing, because I haven't played those yet.
And actually, in a way, it would almost maybe make more sense, right? Because what they do, right, is they have Silex come out for Smash Brothers, and then Metroid Prime Trilogy HD comes out around the same time early next year, along with Silex, right? And that would really push sales for Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, getting more people to play it, hyping them up, especially if Metroid Prime 4 is actually on pace to make it up by holiday 2021. That would really lead into an E3 reveal, kind of like the same way Breath of the Wild 2 was revealed last E3. All assuming Metroid Prime 4 is on pace.
Character as the 5th Fighters Pass character would literally blow everybody's minds.
Yes.
I
We
feel
didn't
like
see it
nobody's
coming.
really expecting
How
that.
could it have happened?
We've talked about it, but I'm pretty sure both of us are like 95% sure it's a third party.
I'm not anymore. I'm like,
you're not anymore?
no.
I would love it if it was a Nintendo character, just because it would blow everybody's minds. And the fact that Metroid just has so much, I feel like just saying the word Metroid, people are like, oh, it's like a big thing.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because Metroid's never been a big thing, but some reason it's just a lot of hype.
Well, I think it has been a big thing in a way in terms of like people know that it's good, but it hasn't been played by enough people, if that makes sense.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
It's like everybody kind of knows that it's great, but nobody's like trying it out. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But this is its chance to shine. I would not be surprised if Metroid Prime Trilogy comes out and it's easily, by far, the best-selling Metroid Prime game, or just Metroid game in general. I'd be surprised if it wasn't, honestly, if Metroid Prime Trilogy came out and it wasn't the best-selling one.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, Nintendo could be like... That would honestly be a ridiculously hype final character, too. Maybe not as much as Sora, just in terms of, like, the general masses, but I think Nintendo fans would be much more
I'd care more for Silex.
Yeah.
That'd be
I'd
so
care
cool.
A million.
Like, it would be kind of like the Metroid hype, you know? Also, what would be interesting about it, if you think about it, the first new character, well, technically Daisy was revealed first, but that was an Echo, but the first, like, new character reveal was Ridley for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, right? Like, non-Echo character. Like, to start off the hype from Smash with Ridley, and then to close it off, the first Fighters Pass with Silex, that's kind of like a nice, put like a nice little, neat little bow on that right there. That would be kind of nice to see. And, like, the Smash Metroid hype together, like, you got the Smash hype, right? But you'll pair that with Metroid hype. Like, if you fuse them, that would be, like, such a mind-blowingly hype thing to do. So imagine at the Game Awards, right, literally, the announcements are that, hey, look, Miss Silex, right? But then they're like, oh wait, but there's more. Trailer for Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, and it looks great, right? And it's like coming out February 2020, right? Which would be, but hold on, here's a second, hear me out. What's coming out in January for Nintendo? Tokyo Mirage Sessions Encore. What's coming out in March for Nintendo? Animal Crossing. Right, Animal Crossing,
Animal
right?
Crossing.
Animal Crossing, yeah.
Animal Crossing.
Exactly. And then in February, we don't have a slot for that yet, right?
It's true. We don't.
It would fit perfectly, and what also ends in February? The Fighters Pass.
Yeah.
It fits.
Could.
It fits.
It'd be hype.
It would be so hype.
But if it did, that would.
It would be so hype. We'll see. We'll see. That'd be super, super, super cool. But yeah, we'll definitely see. So, I guess now, let's just end things here with a final topic. Final 2019 Game Awards predictions. What do you think is actually going to happen? And let's go into detail about how it's going to happen.
Okay. Obviously, we think Smash character's going to be announced.
Right.
But the thing I'm looking more forward to is a Zelda trailer. Now we can discuss what kind of trailer it's gonna be, but personally, I don't think it will be the same as for like Breath of the Wild, where we got more of a gameplay type deal. I definitely think it will be more of a story trailer, because I don't think that they want to show off the gameplay too much yet. I think it will definitely have hints towards new things in the gameplay. I definitely think they'll show new areas of the map, because obviously they're going to use the same map, but it's going to be very different, so I think they're going to show kind of how it's different. But I think they'll also hint at the story, and the way I think personally that they'll do it, because I don't think they want to show off too much, so I think they'll kind of piggyback off of the kind of ending of the original Breath of the Wild, where they hinted at a lot of different things, like recreating Hyrule. They also hinted that Ruda was broken for some reason. So I think they might piggyback off of that and kind of continue that, where they're investigating the divine beasts and they're rebuilding parts of Hyrule. And I think they'll go into that sort
That's
of
interesting.
part of it.
And what's interesting about that is that, like, because I made a video recently on Breath of the Wild just talking about the lack of Sheikah technology in the trailer. What if that's all connected? What if the reason Valruta wasn't working properly is because the Sheikah technology is all shutting down? Because
and
the perceived...
Link is not holding a Sheikah slate.
No, exactly. It's all gone. Right? So what if... My theory, right, was that what if because of the perceived threat of Ganon is gone, all the Sheikah technology either A, rescinds back down to the ground, or just shuts down, or both. Right? Because the perceived threat was defeated.
It does seem to go away, because you can see in the overview, like when the castle's rising, none of the towers should be in view are there.
Nothing.
So it seems like they went back into
underground, which places more emphasis on underground exploration, which is where we see Link and Zelda. Maybe that's what led them there.
They noticed that, Ganon's underground, so they kind of changed into more of an underground form.
I feel like they didn't really, like, I don't feel like they knew what was gonna happen, right? Like, I don't know if they,
because there's a lot of it's gonna be where Ganon was an actual location. It seemed like there was temples and things surrounding it. So it seems the Sheikah definitely had other things underground. So it makes sense that they have some other technology.
I don't know if it's Sheikah technology underground.
Right. It might be
the other tribe.
The other tribe. Right. But you know what I'm talking. The Zonai.
Yeah,
I think the Zonai might have technology, and we do see Link having this weird like Zonai green powers, which is interesting. So I think maybe the Sheikah technology is not the main focus. It's more like Zonai technology. But I'm not even sure if it's technology so much as it is like magic almost. Because Link's not holding any sort of tech. Like, he just has this power. So it seems more like just this magical force. So maybe they'll go more into that as well. Though obviously they're not going to show off a ton, but it's just going to be like subtle hints that we see different things. And I think they'll probably show off different towns, maybe existing towns and how they're bigger. Obviously they're not going to go into it. They're just kind of like panning shots of, towns we've already been to, but they're kind of more full. I think that's kind of what they'll do. Focus on the weird threat of, or the weird cause of why, or just generally, that the Sheikah technology is being weird and not working or not existing anymore, and then rebuilding Hyrule. I think those are the two main pillars that the trailer will focus on. And obviously there's going to be other details that we can kind of look into from the trailer, as there always is for Zelda, but I think those are the two things that the trailer will focus on, because that just makes sense to me, piggyback off of the ending of Breath of the Wild.
Okay. No, I think that makes sense. The idea of it following up, like, literally what happened after Breath of the Wild. That would be nice to see, like you said, like the rebuilding of Hyrule. I want to see exactly what prompts Link and Zelda to go and explore underground. I feel like it has to be related with the shutting down of the Sheikah technology, assuming that's what's happening. Right? I don't know if they necessarily are going to go in knowing that that's going to be, Ganondorf under there. Right? Like, maybe they start picking up clues because, they start looking at the paintings on the walls and stuff and the hieroglyphs. But I doubt that they know for sure that they're going in knowing that they're going to be interacting with a living corpse of Ganondorf. Maybe they
definitely seem very surprised when they ran into Ganondorf.
Right. It's like, yeah, like, I'm honestly thinking they don't even know that Ganondorf is there at all. Right? I doubt they were going in thinking, like, for sure they didn't think he was alive, right? Or alive. But maybe they knew that something about Ganondorf was there, and which is why they went in there.
Because in Breath of the Wild, they kind of hint that he came from underneath the castle. Like, many of the cutscenes, just the wording that the king uses and stuff like that, they kind of hint that he came from some source underneath the castle. Like, Calamity Ganon wasn't the main source of it. They kind of hint at that.
I guess in terms of, like, just, like, looking at the story logically, like, if they had an idea of that, why didn't they do anything about it sooner? Because this is an issue that's been going on for thousands of years, So I'm really curious what is going to prompt them to go and explore underground this time
Right.
around. I don't know if that'll happen in the trailer. Like, that might not be something we'll see until maybe the game comes out. We'll see. But definitely we're gonna get a greater glimpse of Breath of the Wild 2 if that's what shows up at the Game Awards.
I could definitely see the trailer starting off with like an overview of like Hyrule Field or something with the towers, and then the towers just shutting off and then going back under.
Ooh, that's cool. Like,
I think that would be a really cool,
you know, kind of like, have you ever seen like those movies where they show like a whole bunch of lights on a road just shutting down, like shutting off, and it's loud? Something like that, but right, but they do that for the Sheikah Towers. That'd be really cool.
Epic.
That would be super awesome. Oh,
That's
man,
kind of what I'm thinking is gonna go down. I think it's gonna be amazing.
that would be so lit. So what if they have that kind of trailer for Breath of the Wild, and they really do have Silex reveal of the Game Awards with the Metroid Prime Trilogy? Like, that would be 3 announcements, right? But the Metroid Prime Trilogy HD would be like side. It would oh my god, like that would be like the best. It would almost rival. It'd basically rival E3 kinda in a way.
Yeah.
Not actually, but it'd be pretty lit. I don't think it's gonna happen. Like, I feel like Silex is just such a like a left field kind of thing, right? It'd be nuts. I do want to revisit the Rex and Pyra thing, though. I understand, guys. I know I've been talking about a lot of Nintendo characters, but third-party like I expect there to be a third-party character, but hear me out, right? You know who John from Game Explain is, right, Brandon?
Yes.
You know how he's like, whenever you watch the Game Explain discussions, especially before a direct, he's like, "Oh, I predict Super Puppy Land 300 and Tim Boo and Final Fantasy 13 X2 and X1 and 12 and 11 and not 9 but 8 or something like that, right? All for Switch next week." Like, he has all these random predictions, but the truth is that they're not random predictions, it's inside information.
Yeah.
Lately he's been really pushing Rex and Pyra. He has the exact same opinion about Rex and Pyra as I do, so it could just be that he's a big Xenoblade Chronicles 2 fan, and he's just really saying, hey, they're still possible. But it also could be one of those things where it's like, hey guys, I know something. I don't think it is. I'm just putting that out there. He's leaked a lot of things in the past.
If that is
usually nothing this cool though.
Than Silex, but
yeah, I think, but I don't think it is a leak because, you know, normally it's something that he talks about right before Nintendo Direct, and it's usually nothing that big, right? So I'm gonna say that's just him talking about something he's excited about. The same way I talk about Rex and Pyra because I'm excited about it. So, but I'm just putting it out there. That's it. I think Sora would have the greatest impact, and
I think Sora seems the most likely at the moment.
Ooh. I don't want to.
Well, who do you think is more likely? Maybe I'm flexible, so you know, like if you think somebody else more likely, I'll definitely.
I'm too biased.
Just consider it, but I just honestly think that's the most.
I'm too biased to like give a fair opinion on it. I think because I really want there to be another Nintendo character.
Oh yeah.
And I do think there's a possibility of it. But at the same time, you consider the precedent that's been set with the Fighter's Pass. It's all been third-party characters. You gotta think that there's gonna be another third-party character. Like, that is what makes sense. But at the same time,
really saying anything about first-party.
They're not saying no, though.
They kinda.
No.
I mean, they're not. But it's,
no.
They're not saying they heard anything, which is as much as they can say no. Because obviously they're not gonna.
Well, here's the thing.
Here,
like
no.
I'll also say that no one said Terry Bogard until that day before Terry Bogard was announced, right? So I feel like, you know, we don't necessarily have the intel. Like, it's still days ahead.
Right.
So I don't know. And also for the Joker was not leaked at all, by the way. What?
Yeah, I really hope it's like Joker and the character doesn't get leaked like the day before.
Right. I don't want there to be any leaks. Yeah.
If you leak something, keep it to yourselves, my people.
So, I think my problem with the word most likely is that the connotation of most likely makes it seem really likely, but technically most likely doesn't mean likely, if that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, hear me out. So, let's say there are only 5 characters that are possible. Like, there's way more than that there's possible, but just to do like a little math thing, right? Let's say 5 characters are possible. One of them is Rex and Pyra, and they are at 10%, right? Silex is at 10%. And then you have Phoenix Wright, which is at, I don't know, let's say 25%, right? And then you have
Chance.
And
big chance.
I know, but I understand. But then the next character, let's say it's Frogger, has 25%, right? That'd be 25, 50% between, and then 2 more 10%, so that'd be 70%. And then Sora is 30%. Like 30% is not that much more than 25, is what I'm trying to say, right? So like, if you say Sora to be most likely, you know, there's still a couple other characters that might be like right there that are also still likely, and odds are, you know, there's a 70% chance that it won't be Sora, even if Sora's the most likely. Do you understand what I'm trying to say with the numbers I'm putting up?
I understand.
Like, so if I say most likely that Sora, if I agree that Sora is the most likely, that doesn't mean I'm saying that I think Sora is really likely.
Right.
But of all the characters, I do feel like Sora like is the last like third-party character that really makes sense.
One of the ones that haven't been deconfirmed.
That hasn't been deconfirmed. Right, exactly. So I am gonna agree with you that Sora is the most likely third-party character.
I would absolutely love it if it was Doomguy and all those
people
were wrong.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Yeah.
I'd cry. I wouldn't cry, but I'd be happy.
Yeah. So, I just can't say that with confidence. I don't know I honestly don't know who it's gonna be. What I feel confident in is that there will be a Nintendo character revealed at the Game Awards, and there will be 2 more. I think there'll be 3 total announcements that are Nintendo related at the Game Awards. One of them probably Zelda. Yep. Yeah. So that is pretty much it for me with that. I don't have anything else to add on that. So if we talk about the Game Awards next week, that's only if new information comes out. I have nothing else to say on the matter. Smash character will happen. I don't know who, but a Smash character will happen. And I think Zelda is really likely.
How likely do we?
50%.
I'm honestly, if I don't see it, I'll be surprised. And that's
like if it's not Zelda, I think the show is gonna be disappointed. If it's not Zelda, it better be freaking Metroid. Like that, I think I'll be disappointed otherwise.
I'll still be disappointed if it's Metroid, not Zelda, because Zelda's, at the top for me. But it would be better than, say, Bayonetta 3 or something.
Like, I think I guess it could be the case that we get Bayonetta 3, a Bayonetta 3 trailer, and the next Smash character, and that's it. Which would be good, but it wouldn't be something I would love.
Mm-hmm.
Unless that Smash character is like Rex and Pyra or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much where I stand on that.
The big one for me is the Zelda one. That's what makes it all.
Right. What I really want is the Zelda trailer, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's what I really want to see, for sure. So I see that
we talked about it being a story trailer, but we never really talked about any other possibilities, even if they're less likely.
They could show off maybe a hook shot, like that hand glowing thing. They could detail to us to some extent what kind of powers it could give. I think maybe. So here's the thing, right? If you think about the gameplay for Breath of the Wild 1, there's a lot of climbing. We did a lot of climbing in Breath of the Wild 1.
Mm-hmm.
They could still have climbing in Breath of the Wild 2, but I think they're going to want to like put a spin on it. Maybe expedite that climbing, right? One way you could do that is by giving you a hook shot from very early on, because you're not going to have the runes. The runes are gone. So Magnesis, Cryonis,
seemingly, from what we can
Stasis,
tell.
from what we can tell, it seems like they're gone. So we're going to have something in its place. Maybe that magical hand gives you different powers. Maybe one of those powers is kind of like a hook shot. And if you look at some of the concept art for Breath of the Wild 1, there was like a glowy hand kind of hook shot thing in that concept art. Maybe they're going to employ that idea. We get the hook shot, use the hook shot to basically climb really quickly because it just latches on to anything that's rock and you're just like and just go everywhere. Maybe they could show that off in this next trailer.
Maybe it'd be more gameplay focused, but not necessarily in the way they did it at the Game Awards 2014. More of like a trailer instead of like a live gameplay demo. I could see that. I mean, they could do that as well with the story trailer, just a little bit, but maybe a more gameplay.
I think it's got. I don't think it's gonna be full on story like the first one. I think it's gonna be definitely at least give us a hint as to how the gameplay is gonna be like. You know. Yeah. I don't think.
I definitely think that would be another, as you're saying, because we don't have the Sheikah Slate. I definitely think the Zonai powers will be a big twist to the gameplay, so they might want to show that off. Might want to hint as to what those are.
Actually, I'm gonna bump up my confidence in the Zelda trailer to 75% because we recently heard more intel that Breath of the Wild is planned for 2020, which basically just reaffirms what we've been talking about.
Do we think it will be confirmed for 2020 at this direct? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Direct. Game Awards trailer. I think it definitely would.
Because I think that's a big looming question for Zelda fans. Saying 2020 is a big deal, and I feel like Nintendo announcing that Zelda's coming out 2020 is like, hey, Sony and Microsoft, get ready, because we're gonna be bringing the games. You could have all the shiny. This team keeps falling. You could have all the shiny hardware you want. We're gonna have the games, including Breath of the Wild 2, which is not what it's going to be called. It's going to be something else. I'm pretty sure.
Another thing I wanted to talk about, less related, well, this is still obviously related to Nintendo, but I feel Nintendo always has the most exciting announcements at the Game Awards, and I feel like Nintendo's always the ones being talked about the most after the Game Awards is over. So I'm wondering if you think that the other companies will try this year to announce something bigger, especially since they have new systems next year. You think that they'll show off anything about those? No, they'll just be like waiting. I guess the Game Awards isn't really a big enough deal to win that they might, want to show something.
I mean, that would be pretty hype. Like, I think that'd be really cool if they did that. I should be clear. I don't think I know enough about Sony and Microsoft to really give like a very calculated prediction on how they're gonna handle the Game Awards, right? I could just tell you what I think off the top of my head, which is not that educated, right? So I think I should just put that out there. But based off the way the Game Awards have been, Nintendo has kind of, at least to me, dominated the spotlight. And I think if there is gonna be some sort of blowout for Sony and Microsoft, it's going to be when they're fully revealing their console, not the Game Awards.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of is maybe Microsoft would want to put another Halo Infinite trailer out, but I could definitely just see them waiting. Well, see, it does feel like it would be a good time, because the last trailer they put out was in E3, and they've all been very, very teaser trailers that don't show a lot. So I could see it's similar to the Breath of the Wild situation, where I could see them showing a Halo Infinite trailer.
That'd be cool.
Another teaser trailer.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I guess like wasn't there a Death Stranding trailer at the Game Awards last year too?
I think there was.
Yeah, so like I could see maybe Sony putting out a trailer for something they have in the works. Yeah, if we got a Bloodborne trailer, if we got a Bloodborne 2 trailer, I'd be so hyped for that.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Or Horizon Zero Dawn 2 trailer would be hyped for a lot of people.
Not for me.
I really like Horizon Zero Dawn, just not as much as Breath of the Wild.
I think I should have played Horizon Zero Dawn before Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah. I still need to go back and beat that game. Like halfway through it. Really
well, that's the thing. I didn't feel compelled to go to finish Horizon Zero Dawn.
Well, I would have, but I have to borrow my dad's PS4 to play it, and at the time I think he got a new game that he wanted to play, so I had to give it back to him. Or I think he got DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn. Actually, he wanted to play it, and so I just never got back into it.
Right.
Because I actually really enjoyed that game. I think the combat is really cool. So, yeah, the thing about Sony is like we don't know like any games for the PS5, like none, not one big killer game for that system. So it makes sense for them. You know, it could make sense for them to show one at the Game Awards. But then again, they could just wait till E3. Although I'm not sure if they'll be at E3. I think they're doing their own thing again near E3. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But they could do it at the Game Awards. They could have done something, a smaller one, maybe. If not Horizon Zero Dawn 2, maybe a smaller project.
So, the Game Awards, is it on the 12th, then?
Yes. It's on Thursday, the 12th.
Which is basically a week and a half from now.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know my work schedule. Then I gotta check that.
I don't know, because I'm not on the work schedule yet. But I should know this week.
Yeah. Usually it's at night, so maybe I'll be able to make it. We'll see. Either way, there will at least be reactions for the Nintendo stuff. Yeah, actually, I'm not
on it if I can't.
Yeah,
I don't know when, cause
honestly, I might not even want to watch the Game Awards. I might just want to wait and just look up the trailers afterwards, because as hyped as
I like being in the crowd watching, like, and seeing. I don't like it when I have to read a headline and then see it. Like, you know.
I get that. There's that you lose that surprise element. It's like, oh, what is it gonna be? What is it gonna be? Right? But also, most of the time, it's disappointment when I'm like, oh, is this gonna be what I want? And then it isn't. And then it isn't. Like last year.
Yeah.
How many times I was like Metroid, and every time I was disappointed. And then at the very end, I was like, okay, they're gonna have Metroid right here at the end, right? Right? No, they did not.
Yeah.
Which is super disappointing, and it was also super disappointing because like that was what the leakers were saying, right? That Metroid was gonna be at the Game Awards, and what made it even worse is that Reggie was wearing a shirt with Ridley on it. It was a Smash Bros. Shirt, but it had Ridley. Of all the Smash characters, they picked Ridley, and all the leakers, like not like credible people, were saying it Metroid's gonna be at the Game Awards. Like we believed it was gonna be at the Game Awards, so we were waiting for it.
Yeah.
That was bad.
I've noticed like no leakers are going near Leaky Pandy's talk about Metroid. They're like, nope, I'm not even gonna say anything about this. They're just like
leakers, right? Not news channels.
Leakers.
Yeah, news channels are talking all about it because it's just something people pay attention to.
But the leakers are like, nope, I'm not even gonna comment on this.
Yeah. It's not that rumors, but I'm for damn sure that rumor is. If I'm wrong, I'll gladly take the L on it, but I am super confident that specific rumor is wrong. Metroid is coming, and maybe even sooner and better than what the rumor is suggesting, but it's wrong. That's just what I believe. Confidently. So, yeah, not worried about that. But in terms of the Game Awards, like, just sitting through, dude, honestly, the awards are bogus. And a lot of the trailers I'm not going to care about. It's just that plain simple. There's going to be a lot of sitting and waiting that I just won't really like. Maybe what I'll do, right? Maybe what I could do is, like, maybe I won't stream it necessarily, but, like, I'll record myself watching it and I'll be playing Pokemon in the background or something. Oh, what actually might be an interesting idea. Maybe I could set it up where I could be playing Pokemon, but I could have the Game Awards stream. I could be streaming Pokemon, like playing it, while the stream is there at the same time. You know, like both. That makes sense. I don't know. Maybe that's just too much to do at once.
I don't know.
Neither do I.
I'll stream it if I have time, for sure. But
if I'm working, it'll be an easy. The answer will be
the easy
no.
option.
Yeah.
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 I do enjoy sitting through and just talking to the chat, just about literally nothing or about what's going on. And there is more for me to be excited about if Microsoft or Sony show something than for you, since you don't care as much about those.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more exciting for me. But yeah, I totally get you. I wish there wasn't so much fluff during the presentation.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, guys, I think we've pretty much reached the natural end for today's discussion. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties in the beginning. I know that kind of made things awkward in the beginning. So forgive me. Or rather, blame YouTube. It's all their fault. They did this. Did everything.
It was their fault.
But I'll get used to the new setup. It's fine. But now that they changed it, but now we're good. So I'll figure it out for next time. I just have to figure it out on the fly. Like when I thought I had everything ready an hour in advance, and like, nope, no, you don't. But anyway, it's okay. So everyone, make sure to check out Brandon's channel, What About Nintendo, which is linked in the description below. Leave a like for this video. Check out my videos. I've been putting out stuff multiple times a week. And we'll be seeing you soon. Alright.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Take care.